This is the Fifth Estate Winning Headlines, your media police post. In this segment, we take a look at some of the headlines that you might have missed this morning. But we also take a look at the political pieces that we call cartoons in this country. Today is the 12th of May, 2022, and I am AX.
I am Serbia.
And I am GK. In case you missed the headlines, here they are. The Daily Nation, dead heat.
Okay.
2 words, nice and short. The Standard, Mudavadi reaps big, but what's in it for the others? The Star, IEBC seeks law change on ballot box sealing. And finally, The People Daily, MPs want 1.5 million shilling salary after the polls. So before we get into our submissions for today we would like to add an extra newspaper into the lineup. That is the Taifa Leo, which says it nice and simply. Ruto kufufua BBI.
Ay, this man.
Oh my God, what an irony.
But let's see. Serbia, why don't you take us through what we're going through today?
Okay, so now that Kibaki has died, Raila cannot claim his political debt from Kikuyus for saying Kibaki Tosha. The only debt accrued to Raila is his debt with hustlers who have supported him all throughout his political career. And that is why, rather than reinvent the wheel, Raila is expanding what Kibaki and Uhuru have done for the economically underprivileged in the country.
Absolutely.
Yes.
2 days ago, Raila unveiled his plan for recognition of prior learning in the Juakali sector. The Juakali Empowerment Plan was also addressed by Uhuru in his Madaraka Day speech last year and was key in Kibaki's Vision 2030.
Yes.
And although Kibaki is no longer with us and Uhuru is leaving government shortly, Raila will take over to ensure the dream of transforming Kenya into a newly industrialized economy is realized.
Absolutely.
For starters, Raila is the real father of the hustler nation.
Yeah.
Yes. If you remember, in 2017, Raila marshaled hustlers every Monday to go riot until government ran out of tear gas to disperse them.
AKA tear gas
Mondays.
And since the handshake, Raila has managed to tame hustlers. For 4 straight years, we haven't had hustlers rioting or shops broken into. And now government is overburdened with expired tear gas. But if Raila is the real father of hustlers, who is William Ruto to the hustler nation? In our view, Ruto is the neighbor to the cousin of the nephew of the uncle and father of the hustler nation. In short, Ruto is a hustler bandia.
Ooh.
That is why when Ruto told border riders to collect their impounded border from police stations, none dared to step into the police stations. But we all know that had it been Raila that had given the order, the whole of Nairobi would have appeared like we are at a funeral.
Guy.
All of us would have been crying from the tear gas that would bring the city to a standstill. Raila's agenda for country is about 3 things. The nationalist covenant, constitutional stability, and an economic program.
Yes.
If hustlers trusted Raila to bring constitutional stability through the handshake when he was not even president, why should they not trust him now when he promises them a transformative economic program?
Yes.
Most importantly, the nationalist covenant has been achieved by Uhuru Kenyatta, who has now called Raila to give him what the founding fathers denied Jaramogi, Tom Mboya, Ochieng Oneko, and other Luo patriots and martyrs. And because these injustices and debts were not originally Uhuru's, they are conditions. Raila must advance Uhuru's legacy and continue empowering workers in all sectors of our economy.
Yes.
The Luyas on bicycles going to oversee the security dockets. The Luos panel beating cars at Grogon. The Kambas repairing old tires. The Kikuyus in Gekomba and Marigiti. All these hustlers make about 80% of our workforce and contribute to 28% of our national output. By recognizing and formalizing their hard work, Raila is advancing the restoration of dignity project started by Uhuru. GK told us yesterday that Raila has understood that it is better to do the right things than be popular. Raila is ascribing to the politics of delayed gratification for the benefits of the future.
Amen. Yes.
He is preserving Uhuru's legacy, which already laid a solid foundation to transform all hustlers from earners of wages to owners of capital. We saw this in 2020 when President Uhuru launched the 1.9 billion shilling school furniture project that saw Juakali artisans supply 650,000 desks. The Juakali in Taita Taveta County earned more than 23 million shillings from this project. Again, since 2020, the Ministry of Health has been utilizing the Juakali sector in the expansion of hospital bed capacity in public hospitals. All this means that Uhuru and Raila are showing hustlers how to fish with dignity and not just throwing them fish bones. In the meantime, Hustler Bandia is telling hustlers to down their tools, meet him by the roadside so that he can throw them pieces of the national cake to them. Later, these desperate hustlers are left exchanging blows, scrambling for meager handouts while lamenting that Ruto has shortchanged them. Truly, Ruto's uplifting of hustlers remains a distant dream.
Amen.
The difference between when you give a real promise with real concrete solutions rather than an empty slogan.
Yes, indeed. So, today I would like to talk to you about a conspiracy. A conspiracy to guarantee the political power of one man without the backing of the people of Kenya.
Tell us.
In April 2022, Wajir MP Fatuma Gedi alleged that DP Ruto has illegally obtained parcels of land in Trans Nzoia, Wajir, Taita Taveta, and Nairobi counties. When asked to back up her very serious allegations, she returned to Parliament 2 days later with a suitcase of evidence ready to defend her claim. Now, fast forward to Tuesday this week, when Parliament resumed session and Muturi found her evidence inadmissible because MP Gedi did not follow the rules laid down for the submission of such documents. However, I believe that something else is going on. We are witnessing the beginning of a conspiracy to ensure Ruto retains the reins of power, even if he loses a 2022 election. Let me explain. In politics, a conspiracy refers to a group of people united in the goal of damaging, usurping, or overthrowing an established political power. Typically, the final goal is to gain power through extra-democratic means or undemocratic means. And right now, we are witnessing the genesis of the Ruto conspiracy. Is it possible that Muturi acted not in his capacity as speaker, but in his capacity as wheelbarrow pusher? I ask this because we must ask who benefited from his dismissal of a literal suitcase full of evidence. Cui bono? First of all, was it Muturi? Could this be the price he had to pay for the DP slot under Kenya Kwanza? Or was it Ruto? Not because in dismissing Gedi's evidence he prevented more evidence on his character flaws from going on the public record, but because it confirmed his capacity to wield influence even when not in direct control over the reins of power. Ruto understands that there are many routes to power, and the presidency is but one of them, if not the most attractive and the most direct. Another route to control power, or rather to power, is to control parliament, stacking it with politicians allied to you, who will, one, frustrate the executive by forestalling legislative action, thereby making the president look ineffectual, weak, and ineffective, and two, ensure that the next time you vie for office, victory is almost guaranteed. And these possibilities are incredibly dangerous. Don't forget that Parliament can amend the Constitution under Article 256, and that Ruto recently expressed his support for amending our Constitution. So perhaps MPs allied to Arab Ruto will amend the Constitution. We already know that he wants to reincarnate BBI, so maybe the changes that he makes are to the threshold for victory, moving it from a 50% plus one to a first past the post system where a candidate will win even if more people voted against them than for them. We must also not forget that Parliament is responsible for approving the appointment of state officers under Article 250, sub-Article 2 of our Constitution. Who's to say MPs allied to him won't approve ineffectual IEBC commissioners who will capitulate to his every demand when he runs in 2027? What is my point here? The stunt Muturi pulled is just the beginning. Watch this space.
And we will watch it indeed. Looking at the Taifa Leo headline today, the only word that came to my mind is hypocrite.
Hypocrite.
William Ruto is a master of reverse psychology, and he has been playing this psychology on the psyche of Kenyans. He has mastered politics of deceit and conmanship and has been executing this scheme potentially through hypocrisy. We say this because the Kenya Kwanza Coalition Agreement that was deposited just 3 days ago with the Registrar of Parties now reveals the kind of hypocrite that we may be dealing with. The agreement stipulates an expanded executive, which elaborates how Ruto intends to expand the executive and share power if he becomes president. Simply put, Ruto has adopted the BBI model and he intends to implement it if he becomes president. This is the exact model that he vehemently opposed from car rooftops, claiming that BBI was not a priority for the country and was a waste of both time and money. David Runciman, in his book Political Hypocrisy, argues that there are two types of hypocrisy: malicious hypocrisy and fashionable hypocrisy. He argues that we can accept fashionable hypocrisy as a fact of politics, but suggests that we should reject malicious hypocrisy. Allow me to explain the difference. Fashionable hypocrisy is about deceiving yourself. These kinds of hypocrites know that they are false, but do not wish to use their dishonesty against others. The likes of people like Alfred Mutua shifting coalitions is what we would consider fashionable hypocrisy. Now, malicious hypocrites, on the other hand, know themselves to be false, but conceal their sinister deals. They plan at authenticity and virtue in order to deceive those who believe them to be true. And this is the truth definition of William Ruto. He is a malicious hypocrite who concealed his sinister intentions when he opposed BBI, only to recently claim that he supports an amendment of the Constitution. This is the kind of hypocrisy that David Runciman urges us to reject in our politics. BBI intends to cure country's original sin of exclusion by expanding the executive. It sought to deal with the issue of ethnic antagonism and divisive elections. And Mr. Ruto knew that this was good for country, but pretended to oppose it only to later embrace it. If this is not malicious hypocrisy, then I just don't know what is.
Hypocrite, our word for the day.
We have a three-part criteria that we use to judge the headlines for you. We ask ourselves these three questions. Is the headline topical or speculative? Is it repetitive or groundbreaking? And finally, is it thoughtful or just plain lazy? So I will read the headlines for you once again. The Daily Nation, dead heat. The Standard, Mudavadi reaps big, but what's in it for the others? The Star, IEBC seeks law change on ballot box sealing. And the People Daily, MPs want 1.5 million salary after polls. And finally, let us not forget, and what I would vote for as my winning headline, the Taifa Leo, Ruto Kufufua, BBI.
Okay, now that the Taifa Leo is now in contention, I have to say that one gets the winning headline.
Absolutely.
For no other reason.
No, not the Standard. I mean, our question is, where are the Kikuyus? Apparently, they are being shortchanged live.
Live.
Well, is it possible for us to have two winning headlines today? We have to decide.
I mean, we can vote.
We can allow it.
We can allow it.
We can allow it. We have two winning headlines today, the Taifa Leo and the Standard.
Yes.
Now, on to the political pieces that we call cartoons in this country, where we also have a three-part criteria that we use to break them down for you. We ask ourselves these questions. Is the cartoon humorous or dry? Is it satirical or pessimistic? And finally, is it effective or simply
Just
plain lazy? So why don't we begin with the Daily Nation?
All right, so starting with the Daily Nation, we see quite an interesting picture. We see a very rotund Mr. President. We know that it is the president because of the characteristic shirt and the Jubilee Party socks.
Oh yes, the socks.
The
I didn't see that.
Yes. Now he appears to be playing a game of chess against William Ruto. He has Peter Kenneth as I want to say a chess piece, maybe potentially a pawn in his back pocket, and Raila is sitting on his lap. Now it seems that Raila has gone to make a move, but the president has stopped him and is now moving Sabina Chege in that place. Meanwhile, Ruto seems to be moving his own hand to place his chess piece onto the board. And I believe that the relevance or the context behind this cartoon is the fact that Raila is still searching for his deputy. Meanwhile, Ruto is doing everything by himself, for himself, and with himself.
One of the only problems I have with this cartoon, I'm not a big fan, but the problem I have with this cartoon is the question of, are Sabina Chege and Peter Kenneth the trump cards in Uhuru's pocket? I don't think so.
But you can see in that cartoon, I think Raila is seated on Uhuru's lap, like a co-driver or something, but yet he cannot be able to play chess. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Like, Uhuru is preventing him. So.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of that inference that the president is the one completely controlling Raila. That is completely not fair. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the Star.
Okay.
I'll take the Star and then
This Star cartoon
Serbia, you
jazzes
take the
me.
Star. Let me start with the Star. Okay, so we have what appears to be Mr. Kalonzo wearing slippers, the Kenyan one. I don't know if they are patapatas.
They look like
They look like patapatas.
Devons.
And so he's doing all sorts of tricks and skills. He's on the floor. He has slipped at some point. He's done a backflip. Looks like he's jumping. And Raila and Uhuru are just looking around, very confused upon the shenanigans that are going on.
You know, I will say this. At least Kalonzo looks like he's enjoying himself in the very least.
At least he's enjoying himself.
At least he's enjoying himself.
Okay.
Wait, did you say the caption for the cartoon?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
You see a flip-flopper. I see a tough negotiator.
Oh, wow.
Now, I don't know who's saying those words. Are they saying that Uhuru and Raila are saying those words? Or is it
No, I
Ozone
think
saying
it's Kalonzo saying it definitely.
Oh,
to
he's telling us
himself.
you see a flip-flopper and us we see a tough negotiator. I think it's a bit apt about the situation that's been going on for the last weeks. There's been a lot of back and forth with regards to Kalonzo's place if he's going to be the DP. It's an apt cartoon and it's quite funny. The Standard.
Okay, that's mine. So in the Standard, we have two rocks fashioned to look like Ruto and Raila.
Okay.
They are facing a chameleon, or rather a chameleon is facing them. The chameleon looks like he has to make a decision. So I think there's another little guy next to the chameleon that says, caught between the rogue and the odd place. Just a play of words on words of caught between a rock and a hard place. This is, of course, it's relevant to Kalonzo's dissatisfaction with Azimio's DP nomination process. And of course, Ruto is stoking the fire. And here at Fort Hall, we have hypothesized that Ruto, of course, is angling for a runoff. A Raila Kalonzo ticket, Railonzo, will fetch 7.1 million votes. These don't even reach the threshold of 50% plus one, which is around 7.8 million votes. So you can see the direction that Ruto wants Azimio to take.
Raila to take.
Not even to take the whole election.
Yes, I do notice one thing about the cartoon. Have you noticed that for the rock faces, Ruto's eyes are closed? You know, Raila's eyes are open.
Are wide open.
Yeah, very wide open.
Does that show the type of strategy these people are going through?
Potentially, I don't know. I don't know.
So out of the four headlines, the cartoons, the Daily Nation, the Standard and the Star, I am not inclined to any, but what do you guys think about?
I love the Daily Nation.
I like the Nation. It's layered.
But I just don't like that part of, Uhuru is the one preventing Raila to,
from moving on his own, yeah.
So we can say the Daily Nation would have won if they had made a few...
It came close.
It came close if they had made a few edits. So that means we have no winning cartoon, but on a day where we have a winning headline
Two winning headlines,
from the Taifa Leo and the Standard, we'd like to remind you not to forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are also on your TV screens. Find us on Pang, Free to Air, GoTV and Star Times. And I will leave you with a quote from Seneca, where it's very short, it's very simple. Every guilty person is his own hangman. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.